Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in Katha Upanishad, Dvitiyavalli, first chapter, Dvitiyavalli. And in the 9th verse, Naisha tarkena matirapaneya proktan yenaiva sujnanaya preshtha yam tvam apa satya dhrutir batasi twadrungno bhuyan nachiketa prashta. So here we are looking at volume, whoever has come in just now. So here, Nachiket, where are we? Nachiket is being addressed by Lord of Death, and he says that what you are asking in the as the third boon, that cannot be reached by na tarkena. Here, what did he say? Na esha tarkena matihi apaneya. So it cannot be reached, that idea of that. What is that? That which is after death. Some say yes, some say no. So that which is beyond everything, that cannot be reached by mere reasoning. So, what is the way? How to reach the truth? How to reach the Paramatma? How to reach the Atma? How to reach the pure consciousness, the Nitya Vastu, which is our essence? How do we reach it? He says, oh my dear, one is led to that knowledge, to that sound knowledge, only if taught by a Guru Maharaj. Proktani ena eva sujnanaya preshtaha. By whom? Who is well versed. What was the well versed we saw? Sujnanaya. The one who has experienced it, one directly, and the second, the words to explain that experience, direct experience, are only given in the Upanishads. And it is the Upanishads which have the capacity to communicate that which is incommunicable. So, we used the word last week, Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. Shrotriya means the one who is well versed with the scriptures, the one who has heard the Shrutis, understood the Shrutis, is able to communicate the Shruti, is called a Shrotriya. Brahmanisht, Brahman, Paramatman, the Nitya Vastu. Nishtha established directly. Such a person, when he teaches, or when one is taught by such a person, one can come to have the sound knowledge of this reality that one already is. And therefore, here it was told, and here he says, Ya tvam apa satya dhrutir batasi. See the statement by Lord of Death. He says, you have already reached it. This statement is not only for Nachiket, it is for you, me, every one of us. You have already reached it. Then what is to be done? Why are we not experiencing it directly right now? See? For that, sadhana is done. You are already that which you are seeking. Nachiket is already the question that he has asked. The answer is not in the heavens. Answer is not in some book. Answer is not in an objective pursuit. The answer is not there. The answer is only in the subjective experience. And subjective experience is an experienceless experience. It is our natural state. From its vision, it alone is. And here, Lord of Death is saying to Nachiket that you are fixed in it. And anyway, we are here. Twadrungno bhoya Nachiketa prashta. We were at the last paragraph of the Shankar Bhashya. The question that was asked was, what is that idea which cannot be attained by reasoning is explained. Ka punah sa tarka gamya matihi iti uchyate. Maybe I am jumping the gun. Here it is still going slowly. Ka punah. That what is that which cannot be gained through argument, through discussion, through imagination, through inference, through means. What is that? That word tarka means argument. Last week I explained in detail all that. Okay. So here he says, Yam tvam matim madvara pradanena apaha praptavanasi. So he says that idea which you have which you have now attained by my granting of the boon. What is that which cannot be attained by reasoning is explained. That idea which you have now attained by my granting of the boon. See, this will come to look at it in two ways. What the Lord of Death is telling, that you have already attained, and yet Nachiketa is feeling that he has not attained. See, excuse me. For that, a cool mind will be required, and you have to continuously assess yourself where we are going wrong in our approach. Because it's a very, very subtle dissection. That is called Vivek. Discrimination between truth and untruth, changeless and changing, permanent and impermanent, infinite and finite, real and unreal. This discrimination cannot take place at the worldly level, at the gross level. This discrimination cannot take place where seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting is the norm. It happens. It reaches its conclusion or conclusionless conclusion when our mind is focused, is quiet, is free from the slavery of the world and the senses and the emotions, free from the slavery of future, free from the slavery of past and future, free from the slavery of fear, not future, fear, free from the slavery of expectation. Because this question was asked, and naturally there will be an expectation in Nachiket to know the truth, but he is very alert. Are we alert? सत्या अवितथ विषया धृतिर्यस्य तव स त्वं सत्य धृतिः बतासि इति अनुकंपयन् आह मृत्युः नचिकेतसं वक्ष्यमाण विज्ञानः स्तुतये. He says that when he says satya avitatha vishaya dhrutir, dhruti means steady. He says, O Nachiket, you are already steady in the truth. You are already fixed in the truth. You have already attained the truth. Tava sa tvam satya dhrutir batasi iti anukampayan aha. See? And you are not shaking from it. Kampayan means shivering, shaking, trembling. You are not trembling. You are not shaking. You are not getting distracted. See? These are all pointers in our sadhana. That Lord of Death is recognizing this disposition, this quality in Nachiketa. He says, you are already established in the truth, you are already steady in the truth, you have already attained the truth, and I can see that you are not distracted by anything else. Meaning, your mind is not wavering, your mind is not attracted by anything, your mind is not looking for other options. It is still. Meaning, the mind is still. When is the mind still? When it has got no regrets and no expectations, no hopes. No emotional trauma. Oh, please help me, guide me to the truth. I am surrendered. I am at your feet. Oh Lord of Death, please, 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 please. I don't want to go back with her. Oh, no crying. Mrityuhu nachiketasam bhakshamana vijnana stutaye. And in this way, the Lord of Death, he showered his praise on Nachiketa, that you are already established in it, you have already attained it, and you are not wavering from it. And in this way, he showered his grace, he showered his praise on Nachiketa. त्वादृक्त्वा तुल्यः न अस्मभ्यं भूयाद भवताद भवत्वन्यः पुत्रः शिष्यः वा प्रष्टाः कीदृग् यादृक्त्वं हे नचिकेतः प्रष्टा. He says that may that he says tvattulyah, may we find someone like you, some questioner like you. That is important. Some questioner like you, and or maybe a child, a son, or a disciple. But that child, that son, that questioner, how he should be, what should be his quality, what should be his attributes. He should be like you, O Nachiket. And last week we were talking about that every master is looking, is available, is open to one disciple. And we gave few examples last week. Ramakrishna Paramahans, he waited almost whole life till Vivekananda came. Tapon Maharaj lived his whole life till Chinmayananda came. And so on. See? So every master, every teacher is looking, is available for that one jewel. See, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he never traveled anywhere in the country or the world. Vivekananda, he traveled America, world of religions he addressed, etc., etc. Wrote so many books. Ramakrishna Paramahansa never wrote anything. Tapon Maharaj sat only in Uttar Kashi, hardly came down. He used to go to Gangotri, come back to Uttar Kashi, go back to Gangotri in summers. Never came down to the plains for so many decades. But Chinmayananda Swami, his disciple, not only he came down, but he went all over the world. Tapon Maharaj never wrote any book. Chinmayananda gave so many commentaries. He never addressed crowds. Chinmayananda addressed crowds. Tapon Maharaj had no organization. Ramakrishna Paramahansa had no organization. Anandmayi Maha had no organization. But their disciples have organizations. See? But here we are not talking about organization or anything. We are talking about a student worthy, into whom all the knowledge can be poured. The teacher is always pouring the knowledge. Who mere presence of Ramana Maharishi was like was like 1,000 suns illuminating everything around it. Na tatra suryo bhati. Anyone who came into that sphere of influence, he or she will get affected by that energy, by that silence, by that knowledge. For that, Ramana Maharishi did not have to speak. Others do it by speaking. See? So here, how should we be? So very important point here, the Lord of Death has told Nachiket that you have already attained it. Nachiket must be wondering, have I already attended? How can you say that I have already attended? Where is the attention? Where? See, two things have happened there. When the teacher, when he reveals the knowledge, he reveals through intuition, because there are no words which can do justice to the reality. There are no words in the scriptures or in the mouth of any teacher which can do justice to the reality, because words are limited, reality is unlimited. How can limited reveal the unlimited? It is not possible. But how do you construe those words? How do you communicate those words to the student? That is an intuitive art which emanates forth from the heart of the teacher. And from which teacher? He who is established in the truth, from his mouth. He comes from the heart, he doesn't come from the brain. He comes from being. He comes from that unified vision. See? And if you choose a teacher, you will always make a mistake. Because how can a limited being decide who is that infinitely established teacher? Do you have the data? Do you have any means? Do you have the capability to recognize one who is realized? No. Then what can we do? All we can do is live in such a way that our mind is on a daily basis purified more and more and more and more. Directly proportional to that, experiences of the world will come, and eventually one of the experiences will be the teacher. See, it is that one who is appearing as the teacher and the student. That one has revealed itself to the teacher, and it is unrevealed to the student, even though that student is also nothing but that one. This is what is going on, and in this way the Lord of Death is very thrilled to have such a qualified student in front of him, and therefore he says, if I have to have a student, if I have to have a son, if I have to have a questioner, may that questioner, that son, that student be of your caliber, O Nachiket, because the availability of such a student, the focus of such a student, the unwavering mind of such a student, the courage and fearlessness to drop away all temptations by such a student, automatically the teacher is thrilled by the presence of such a student. Teacher, he may be established, but when he has to speak, Swami Nityananda of Ganesh Puri used to say, people come and ask for berries, and I am sitting here with diamonds. Nobody is asking for diamonds. All they are asking for is chana jor garam. People come with their worldly problems. People come, my child is not getting married. My daughter is not finding a husband. Your child is in year 12. Please bless him to pass year 12. My child cannot see. My child is lame. My child is not well. My mother-in-law is like this. My father-in-law is like this. My husband is like this. My wife is like this. The world is like this. There is no lasting answer for these questions. There is no lasting answer. These are the berries, not the diamonds. Which berry? Bitter berries. Here is a diamond, Nachiket. Have we polished our mind the way he has? Have we invoked the Jatara Agni, the Nachiket Agni? Have we invoked it? Or we are a Bakasur, eating from morning till evening and never allowing that fire in our belly to rise upwards and burn away all impurity. Keep drinking, keep eating, as if there is no tomorrow. As if without drinking and without eating we can't survive. For that, to go beyond food and drink, which is the expression of the Pranamaya Kosh, we have to be fired up for the reality. An eagerness to know the self as I am, as it is. Then only we will go beyond comfort, discomfort, heat, cold, hunger, thirst, likes, dislikes, joys and sorrows. Then only we can go. You keep thinking about why this person did not give me respect, why did that person not say hello, why that person did not say good morning. Who cares, man? We are not available to the world. We are available to the truth that we are. That is that which is hidden as if. Punarapi tushta aha. Again. Punaha api. Again. Tushta. Tushta means that satisfied Lord of Death, that contented Lord of Death, he spoke. What did he say? Let's go into the next verse. Janamyaham shevadhiritya nityam. Janamyaham shevadhiritya nityam. Na hyadhruvai prapyate hi dhruvam tata. Na hyadhruvai prapyate hi dhruvam tata. Tato maya nachiketas chitognihi. Tato maya nachiketas chitognihi. Anityair dravyai praptavanasmi nityam. Anityair dravyai praptavanasmi nityam. Together. Janamyaham shevadhiritya nityam. Na yadhruvai prapyate hi dhruvam tata. Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi. Anityair dravyai praptavanasmi nityam. He says, I know. Janamyaham. Janami aham. Lord of Death is telling Nachiket, speaking to Nachiket, that I know that the treasure is uncertain, anityam. Anityam means temporary, not permanent, finite, changing. See? Because na hya dhruvaihi prapyate hi dhruvam tata. That which is permanent, that which is continuous, that which is without a break, that which is constant, cannot be gained by that which is finite, by that which is impermanent, that which is changing. This must be clear in our mind. See? And with regards to this uncertainty comes in our, to whom? To the mind. And what is the uncertainty? That I know I am, but then why am I not realizing myself? See? So the teacher is saying, when you pursue that constant principle, when you pursue that changeless self, Atman, through the changing thoughts, then it cannot be known. Tatah, therefore, tatah maya nachiketah natike chittah agnihi nityaihi dravyaihi praptavan asmi nityam. Therefore, Nachiketa fire has been propitiated by me. So now here in this second line of this verse, the Lord of Death is telling Nachiket that I was also like you. I was also a good student. I also invoked the Vaishwanara Agni. That Vaishwanara Agni, which now has been renamed by Lord of Death as Nachiketa Agni, the Nachiketa fire, original name is Vaishwanara fire. The cosmic fire. He said, I also invoked it. And what does he say? He says, has been propitiated by me. And what mistake I did? He says, I nityaihi nachiketah chitah agnihi anityaihi dravyaihi. And I invoked that fire. I invoked that reality. I invoked that reality through impermanent anityaihi dravyaihi, impermanent, non-eternal anityaihi dravyaihi, objects. Objects can be gross, subtle or causal. So objects can be, I am having this this mala in my om, om, om. You will start sweating after some time. Or subtle, Vaikhari is gross, Madhyama is subtle. But important point here is that some support is taken. Support of what? Support of something finite. Support of some object. Whenever we take support of some object, whether gross, subtle or causal, it is called the karma marg. And when we use the various gross, subtle, causal in order to know the reality, then that is called krama mukti. Krama means step by step liberation. How foolish it is that a wave is looking for step by step liberation to be the water. Is it not already the water? Similar is our case. Are we like Nachiket? Or are we like the Lord of Death? Lord of Death pursued step by step liberation. Nachiket, on the other hand, he is not seeking step by step liberation. See? So how do we invoke the truth? By way of objectivity or by objects? We, very gross, we put a statue and we start invoking the divine in the statue. We put a photograph and we invoke the divine in the photograph. This is gross. Subtle, something closer, something more refined. We imagine that statue in our mind. We imagine that image in our mind. We imagine the various heavens in our mind. Because living on this planet, every human being wants to be free from all afflictions. Remember, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik and Adhyatmik. You want to be free from all afflictions. So what does the religion tell you? Go to heavens. And maybe some places, some religions may be having only one. In our Hindu culture, there are 7 heavens. Bhu Bhuva Swa Tapa Janamaha Satyam. Satyam is where the creator is. And when you reach that heaven, you are one with all. It is the causal state. It is the formless state. It is that state where all the minds, all the entire universe is in unmanifest form. Just like all the people of the waking, all the people and their minds in the dream and the waking, including your mind and your in the waking and your mind in the dream, are unmanifest in the deep sleep. Deep sleep is the cause, waking and dream is the effect. Exactly the same way, this Satyalok. Satyalok is where the creator, the Brahmaji is there. The language used for here it will come now, it will come in, I'm already explaining it. We might as well jump into the Shankar Bhashya and go through the explanation there, and all these details that I am giving, that will come. Here he says, so here what is the important point before? So with that view in mind, you listen. What is that view? Is the wave wanting to become one with the ocean, or the wave wants to realize the infinite water? Both are called realization. One is called God realization, the other is called self-realization. One is at the totality level and one is at the absolute level. So question is, as a seeker, are we looking for absolute realization, or are we looking for God realization? God realization is when we want a result for the efforts that we have put. What is the effort? I am listening, I must understand. After I understand, then I will realize. Gone. It's like I want to first understand what swimming is, then I want to practice swimming, and then I will jump into water. How stupid that is. Can you learn swimming without jumping into water? Can you learn swimming by reading the books? I want to know all the mechanizations of cycling, and after I have by heart each step, then I will get onto the cycle and become a cyclist. This is our approach. We want the result. We have taken some support, and whenever we have taken some support, manasa vacha kaya, gross, subtle or causal, the maximum we can reach in this journey of self expansion or self realization, or this journey of expanded consciousness, the maximum we can reach is the total consciousness, in which all other consciousnesses, all other individual consciousnesses, all the minds are in the unmanifest state. That is not equal to realization. That is not equal to self-realization or realization of the absolute. So with this point, so there are two. One is the realization of the absolute, and the other is the realization of the total. When we realize the absolute, no rebirth possible. When you realize the totality, when you come to the causal principle, rebirth is still there. When we come to the totality, it is relative eternity. The other is absolute eternity. Let's see what with this point, this distinction, this only you will find in Upanishads. You will not find in any other scripture. You will, but not so clear. And that is even more enhanced by the words of Adi Shankara. So he says, Janami aham shevadihi nidhihi karma phala lakshanaha nidhihi iva prarthyata iti. So he says, the Lord of Death, who was so happy with our Nachiket, he says again, I know that the treasure, that is the reward of karma. Remember, what is karma? Consciousness identified with activity is called karma. And for every karma, there is a karma phala. And karma phala cannot be eternal. Karma phala has to be within the realm of the relativity. Performing actions, manasa vacha kaya, gross, subtle or gross, causal, cannot deliver you eternity. They can only deliver you relative eternity. So here he says, the reward of karma, which is because it is sought after like a treasure, is not eternal. It is not eternal. If we are seeking the truth, if we are seeking the self, Where are we seeking the self? In our mind. What is the object? We have put the object as self. Who is seeking the self? The seeker is seeking the self. And what is the scripture saying the self is? The seeker himself is the self, in essence. So instead of being subjective, the seeker is seeking the essential essence, the subject itself, the eternal subject, as an object of thought and pursuing it. But that is the only way of communicating. So while we are listening, we be available to that eternal one. असाव नित्यम अनित्य इति जानामि. He says, that eternal, this non-eternal thing, that non-eternal idea always is going to remain non-eternal. A thought can never become eternal. The nature of the thought is, it is born, it stays, it goes away. Action, karma, action cannot remain permanently. It is born, it stays, it goes away. The doer of the thought, the doer, the I, he also appears, stays and goes away. With every activity, with every thought, with every emotion, the I appears, it stays, then it goes away, it dies. So what is anitya? What is non-eternal? That which is not constant. So is your activity constant? Is your breathing constant? Is your seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting constant? No, it's continuously changing. Not only that sometimes you are hearing, sometimes you are touching, sometimes no. Even when eyes are seeing, they don't see one thing continuously. They keep changing the vision, the object of illumination. The ears keep changing, they keep hearing different words. The nose keeps smelling different fragrances. The tongue keeps tasting different tastes. Similarly, the mind also. On one hand, sometimes it is available to the ear, sometimes it is available to the eye, sometimes it is available to the tongue. If you go deeper, mind is nothing but thoughts, but there is no one thought continuously going through the mind. There is nothing like that. Thoughts come, thoughts go. Thoughts come, appear, they stay for some time, then they go away. Whether it is the idam, that, or it is the aham. Aham thought also comes, stays and then goes away. This is for our observation. This is all non-eternal. This is all non-constant. And that which is not constant, it remains non-constant because its nature is so. So that which is constant, that which is eternal, how can it be reached? By that which is not constant, by that which is not eternal. How can the permanent be reached by non-permanent? How can the infinite be reached by finite? How can the changeless be reached by the changing? Understand. Asava nityam anitya iti janami. This is what I know. I understand. Nahi yasmad anityaihi adhruvaihi nityam dhruvam tat prapyate paramatmakhyah shevadihi. Because same thing what they are saying, that Paramatma, that treasure by the name of Paramatma cannot be reached by things which are not constant, which are continuously, cannot be reached by the changing objects. Remember, objects in brackets, manasa vacha kaya, and that is karma. Karma at gross level, karma at vacha level, subtle level, and karma at mental level, even finer. Wherever there is karma, there will be karma phala. Truth is not within the purview of this manasa vacha kaya. Truth is independently existing. It is self-illuminating. There is no light by way of word, by way of concept, by way of picture, by way of visualization, by way of example or inference by which it can be revealed. It cannot. Just as the sun is self-revealing, self-illuminating, even more so the self is self-illuminating. Just like a candle cannot illuminate the sun, why sun? Thousands of sun put together cannot illuminate the self. Objectivity cannot reveal the constant subject, the eternal subject. And that eternal subject is our essence. That eternal subject is the essence of the entire universe, the entire Jagat. We don't have the vision to see that because we are identified. Our consciousness is identified. It is identified with what? It is identified with this body. Where it is identified with this body, it is called Jivatma. And we are not satisfied with that. After that, we get identified with another body. Then we are called a husband, Hasiband. We are identified with another body which is of a small child. Then our consciousness is called as, conscious I is called as father. Then it is identified with another couple. We call them parents. So we are the son. So Gaunatma, Mithyatma and Mukhyatma. We are Mukhyatma. But we have forgotten on account of identification with this body, then we become Mithyatma. Jivatma is Mithyatma, it's a ghost. It's an illusory I. But we are not satisfied with that. Then we even create further ghosts out of this one I. What is that? Father, mother, daughter, sister, brother, etc. All problems are for those idiots. Father, mother, daughter, sister. For those virtual ones. And frankly speaking, how can virtual What is virtual? That which appears but is not there. So how can that which seems to be there but is not there, how can it have any problems? Yeah, logic is good, but that's how we are. As a son, we are troubled by, we are miserable. As a husband, we are miserable. As a wife, we are miserable. Few joys, more miseries. Then we have sorted that out. We have come to, oh, I am the body. I should not be the body. This is where the identification has taken place. And we want to remove the disidentify with the body. What is your attention? Body. And what do you want to do? Disidentify from the body. How can it be possible? Then you have to cut your head like Ravana did. Aghori. That is also not possible. Then you are in trouble on account of body. Who is in trouble? The Jivatma. Who is Jivatma? Another ghost. An illusion. So, are the troubles of an illusory I valid? No. Only imagined. Drop them. And be the Mukhyatma. Be the Mukhyatma. So here he says that so with the changing, the changeless cannot be obtained, cannot be known, cannot be gained, cannot be realized. Yes, यह तु अनित्य सुखात्मकः शैवदिः स एव अनित्यैः द्रव्यैः प्राप्यते. So what can you gain by non-eternal ways? You can only gain the non-eternal world. You cannot gain the eternal reality. Simply put, if you use the fine manasa, vacha, kaya, gross, subtle and causal are finite in nature, with that what can you get? What can you gain? You can only gain something that which is finite. Oh, but we do pujas, we do havan home, we do tapasya, we do japa. We want to merge into the Lord. Bhur bhuva swa tapa jana maha satyam. Ultimate is satyam, the satya lok. Is it not eternal? No, it is not eternal. It looks like eternal when in relation to our world, but actually it is non-eternal. The time span is longer there. Time span is shorter on the earth. So you mean to say going to heavens is not reaching eternity? No, it is not. You will pop back on the earth once your merits are over. Once your karma phala, all the good deeds that you did on this earth, what is the good deed? You listen to satsang. It will not go waste. It will take you to heaven. But when that quota is over, then back to earth. So make sure this is our last life. This moment is our last moment. Anyway. So what can we gain by the non-eternal anityaihi dravyaihi, non-eternal objects of the world? We can only get impermanent happiness. we cannot get permanent happiness. Changing can only give you changing happiness, temporary happiness. ही यतः ततः तस्मान् मया जानतापि नित्यम् अनित्य साधनैः न प्राप्यत इति नाचिकेतश्चितोऽग्निः अनित्यैः द्रव्यैः पश्वादिभिः स्वर्ग सुख साधन भूतः अग्निः निर्वर्तित इति अर्थः. He says that therefore by me, now he is telling about, so what he has just now told, he is not telling it out of the imagination of his mind. Who? The Lord of Death. Now to substantiate his statement above, that non-eternal objects can only give you temporary happiness, this he is going to tell now in the second line. Therefore, tataha, this part, through his direct experience, because he has made that mistake in his life. Who? Lord of Death. He made a mistake? Yes, he made a mistake. This is the only place where he accepts it in Kathopanishad. And what is the mistake? He says, therefore by me, though I know that the eternal cannot be attained by ephemeral aids, see, even though I know the eternal, the absolute truth cannot be gained, cannot be realized by ephemeral. Ephemeral means changing aids, supports, ideas, concepts, objects. When we talk about objects, it is havan, pilgrimages. Make it a bit finer, yoga, pranayam, also changing. Come to mind, japa, also changing. Come to intellect, I, also changing. The I thought, also changing. Oh my God. He says, even though we all know, you also know, eternal cannot be known by non-eternal. Changeless cannot be known by changing. The Lord of Death also knew that. And in the year, I propitiated the Nachiketa fire, that is the Vaishwanara Agni, which I was telling you before in the introduction. The fire of contemplation. And what did I invoke it for? I did not invoke it for the eternal. I invoked it to experience ecstasy. I invoked it to experience bliss. I invoked it to experience heavenly joys. Through what? Through changing things. You must have all said. Just yesterday only, Sunday, I went to someone's house. Office was inaugurated. So we did a small puja, a short one, and chanted 108 names of Ganesha and 108 names of Lakshmi and Aarti. Oh, it was so wonderful, it was so peaceful, Yes, it does give you peace. If you do your chanting of Om or chanting of your mantra, it will give you joy and peace. You will feel thrill going through your body and mind. You will feel ecstatic. But is it permanent ecstasy? No, it is not. It changes. Important point to know here is, when the means are limited, the result cannot be unlimited. If the means are finite, changing, the result cannot be changeless, infinite. And this is the mistake which the Lord of Death did when he was a student like Nachiket. He says, I invoked, propitiated the gods, I did the fire sacrifice, I chanted the mantras, etc., etc. And I thought, experiencing this ecstasy through the outer offerings into the fire, or through observation of breath, or through doing the japa, or through contemplation, I ran after ecstasy and bliss. What did I get? Blisters. And what is the blister he got? He became the Lord of Death. How long he has to remain as the Lord of Death? As long as this creation is continuing. What will happen when this creation concludes? He will become unmanifest. Then what will happen? When again the creation begins, again he will have to take the same position. Don't you do the same? Every night you become unmanifest when you go to sleep. You don't know who you are. But when you wake up, again you are starting from where you left off. He also has got the same job description. He is stuck in that job disposition. Why did he get that job? Because he was a good student. He was a good student. He was committed to truth. He was a dutiful student, dharma parayan. But what was the mistake he made? He pursued the eternal with the non-eternal. When you take the support of non-eternal, when you take the support of changing, it cannot deliver you the eternal. And this is where the discrimination is required. We are using non-eternal words. We are using the word eternal. What the word represents is other than the word. Word is finite. And what the word means is infinite. We use the words Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Swarup, self-luminous, self-knowing, always existing, always blissful, very loosely. Word infinite, having never had an experience of infinity. Oh, consciousness is infinite. What do you know what is infinite? Have you directly experienced it? Have you any data which can show what is infinity? What is eternity? What is all-knowingness? So here he says, where are we? Nachiketaha चितः अग्निः अनित्यैः द्रव्यैः पश्वादिभिः स्वर्ग सुख साधन भूतो अग्नि निर्वर्तितः निर्वर्तितः इति अर्थः। तेना तेन अहम अधिकारापन्नः नित्यं याम्यं स्थानं स्वर्गाख्यं नित्यं आपेक्षिकं प्राप्तवानस्मि। He says, by doing that, by virtue of those practices, I have attained the position of authority, and that position of authority is this office of being the Lord of Death, known as Swarga, the eternal. But this Swarga, this world where I am the Lord of Death, but it is only eternal, it is only a relative realm. It is not the eternity. It is not the eternity. And this is where the basic difference comes among thinkers, that self is, many people say, karma yoga, you have to do. Without doing, how can you realize? You have to purify, you have to do this, you have to do that. Vedanta differs from that. Vedanta says the self is not when you do something, there is always a consequence. The self is not a consequence of doing. Self is not a consequence of doing. Self is self-established, self-existing, self-knowing. It is not a consequence of anything. It is not a cause of anything, it is not an effect of anything. But it supports cause and effect. Cause the totality, effect the individuality. See, just I'll give you one, we'll go step by step. You say you are a seer. To be a seer, for a seer to express, there must be a scene and there must be a instrument of seeing. What is the instrument of seeing? The eyes. The eyes. And what is the scene? The objects, the fan, the laptop, the bottle, the light, the lamp, the table, the bed, the words, the book, the Upanishad. This seer, I am calling, I am the seer. And this seer has, through this one, actually it is one. The seer is one. The I is one. But as a thought, it keeps appearing again and again in order to embrace all that which is seen. Actually one, but appearing as many eyes. I see the laptop, I see the bottle, I see the lamp. So, lamp, bottle and laptop, three objects, seen objects. And 3 times the I was born. But do I feel I was born 3 times? No. So where are these 3? They are in me only, in the I only, in the mind only. See? Now, this is the gross example. Now go a little bit subtler. Subtle is from our mind, the entire experience of the dream is created. The space, air, fire, water, earth, past, present, future, birth, death, all the ugly things and all the beautiful things, all the bodies, all the minds, all the breaths, all the concepts, all the ideas, all the imaginations of every person in the dream. What was the source? What was the source? The mind. Whose mind? The dreaming mind. But it is the same mind. I am the waker, I am the dreamer, I am the sleeper. So dream mind, in the womb of the dream mind, the dream mind projected the entire dream world. The waking mind projected the entire waking world. So just as everything in the dream is the source of it is the dream mind, similarly the source of the entire waking world is the waking mind. So what does it tell you? Just as all the minds in the dream were only imaginations, but there was only my mind. Similarly, take that position, all the minds in the waking world are only imaginations, projections. There is only one mind, that is my mind. This mind is there. It's a projection of this mind. If everyone starts thinking like that, everyone will be realized. That's all that will happen. There will be no war. There will be no competition. There will be no comparison. There will be no compassion also. Why? Everyone will be one with each other. And this is exactly what experience, when I'm saying these words, that the entire dream world has come out of the dream mind, the waking world has come from the waking mind. Where has the waking and the dreamer come from? Where have the waking world and the dream world come from? Where has the waking mind and the dream mind come from? It has come from the deep sleep. That is their source. So what is deep sleep? It is the state of unmanifest, unexpressed waking and dream. Understand? Same way. The state of totality, what we call as God, Ishvara, the Creator. It is the source, it is the cause, it is the first cause. Remember, reality is free of cause and effect, but it supports the cause and effect. What is the cause? The Creator is the cause and the created is the effect. So what is this relative eternity? What is this relative immortality? This relative immortality is when we reach the principle of totality, when we reach the Creator, when we reach the Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the total causal state in which even the creator, maintainer and destroyer, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they are also unmanifest. They also will manifest. And their lives are much longer than ours. In Bhagavatam we saw that. So many seekers, when you do Krama Mukti, when you go step by step liberation, when you go Kundalini, Kriya Yoga, Yoga, Japa, all this will, Puja, all this will take you to Hiranyagarbha. That's the maximum. Wherever there is a means in the finite, you can go from individual finite, the maximum you can go is total finite. You cannot go to infinite. That total finite as compared to individual finite seems like infinite. Like for a wave, the total finite will be ocean. And water is infinite, the absolute. For the wave, ocean is infinite. Oh my God, I want to realize the ocean. So when does this happen? This happens when we take support. When we feel we have to do something. When we are still stuck in cause and effect, means until and unless I don't do something, till then I will not realize. When we are caught up in this trap, the maximum we can reach is relative eternal, not the absolute eternal. Absolute eternal is our essence. Individual and total, these are two spectrums of our mind. Both are, from Upanishadic point of view, both are projections of the mind. And projection only happens when you have forgotten the eternal one, the absolute one. See? So here, the Lord of Death, he is so thrilled by Nachiket that he says, the constant one cannot be known by the non-constant. And that mistake I made. I sought the constant through the non-constant, and as a result of my focus and dedication and my tapasya, etc., I reached. But what did I get? I got the position of Lord of Death. I conquered everything. I am immortal. But only relatively. Only relatively. So when will the Lord of Death also be free of his job description? When this creation concludes. The job of the Lord of Death also concludes. When this creation begins again, then his job begins again. So he is stuck in position. In eternity, the absolute, there are no divisions. In relative, there are divisions. Individual and total. The various steps in between. Birth, death. He has become the Lord of Death, means there has to be birth. It is relative. And he got that position because of his righteousness, because of his purity, because of all the practices that he did. But he took support. He took support. He used non-eternal objects, meaning he used finite objects. What he could have used, that is left to our imagination here. If he is a pujari, he will be invoking the fire. You need the ghee, you need the dravya to put the ahuti, you need the wooden sticks. If you are doing manasik puja, then you need imagination. If you are doing chanting, then you need the words. And so on. All that is okay. We are not saying don't do that. Continue. But don't forget this point, that as long as one takes the support of finite objects, and if you are looking for a result of self-realization, it will only give you relative realization. It will not give you absolute realization. Such masters who achieve this, they are called siddhas, who are still living. They are called siddhas. Please put your audio off, whoever is there. Such masters, they keep coming again and again. They are siddhas. See? Now, continuing, having mentioned this subtle point that the constant one cannot be gained by the non-constant, and to prove that, he brings his own example in between. Now he sings the praise of this young Nachiket, 8-year-old boy, who is sitting in front of him. And in the 11th verse he says, Kamasyaptim jagata pratishtham, Kamasyaptim jagata pratishtham, Kratoranantyam abhayasya param, Kratoranantyam abhayasya param, Stomamah duragayam pratishtham drushtva, Stomamah durugaya pratishtham drushtva, Dhrutyadhiro nachiketotya Dhrutyadhiro nachiketotya srakshihi. Chanting together. Kamasyaptim jagata pratishtham, Kratoranantyam abhayasya param, Stomamah durugayam pratishtham drushtva, Dhrutyadhiro nachiketotya srakshihi. Now he sings the praises that, O Nachiket, that you have not fallen for, that you have practiced discrimination and did not get tempted by anything, and and in that manner you have given up. You have given up, or you have shown your dispassion, extreme dispassion towards everything this world has to offer. And in this way, the Lord is wishing that this quality of Nachiket would have been in him when he was a young seeker like Nachiket. I am adding this. So we'll see this in our next class, this 11th verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a moment.